This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, and welcome to Sage Fixed Asset Tracking Demo. What you'll see on your screen today is Sage Fixed Assets Tracking, which is the software that will enable you to take validation of what you're depreciating to the next level. Sage Fixed Asset Tracking allows you to be able to download your assets to a mobile device. And very exciting, an Android device is now physically able to do this for you, and that would be using OneDrive, no cables. The connections are very easy. It's wonderful. So what we're going to show you today is the software side. There will be another video that shows you the scanner side. So let's get into it. So this is what your screen will see when you have assets overdue. Our software comes with a check-in and check-out feature that enables you to check in or check out the assets that may be mobile. These could also be assets out for repair, or maybe you do want to check out very expensive assets to someone that might be staging a server or for any other reason that you kind of want a tighter control. If the asset is checked out and no one has physically brought it back, you get this nice pop-up that says, listen, you have assets overdue. What do you want to do? I'm just going to say, no, I don't want to view them right now. But if I did, a very nice report will pop up, and we're going to go to that report in a little bit. This is the view of all assets. What's really phenomenal, I think, about this product in a lot of ways is its ability to be user friendly. And one of the reasons is that you really only have two really main screens that you're in. A lot of fixed asset products out there, you have to drill down, drill down, drill down. There's like a screen for the asset, a screen for the financials, a screen for a picture, a screen for, in this case, you have asset list. And then over here on the bottom left, I'm going to hit asset detail. And those are your two main screens. Now, when I'm in the asset detail, you do see these little note cards here, these little tabs. And this will tell you what main little information exists on the asset. If there's a note tab that is date and time stamped, by the way, if there's an image of the note tab, as well as a history file that logs everything, which is really great. So while we're in the main tab, I just want to show you the key features. All the fields that come with the software in the tracking side. And I believe there are almost 50 now. There's 25 that come with depreciation and about 20 that come with the fixed asset tracking piece. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean that this data can be shared with the depreciation module, or it can be a standalone software for fixed asset tracking. Now, if this is actually being shared with depreciation, these top fields here, and I mean pretty much to where it says custom field 8 and 9, these fields here are shared in the depreciation side. So you don't have to duplicate an effort. Down below here, you'll see the tracking fields. These are obviously, say, tracking field 1 through 10. And there's even some numerical ones that you can put in there. There is also a line here that's grayed. These fields here in your main tab, these are fields that are grayed because you cannot access them. They are embedded in the software once an activity occurs. So in other words, if an asset's disposed on depreciation, it populates here. And as you can see, there's a safety measure. That means that no one can go in and actually make the asset undisposed if they're on the tracking side. You also have a property type, you have exception status, and you have a reconciliation status. And those are embedded codes after you do a physical inventory. It keeps what that status is, which is really great. And a lot of government and nonprofits have certain accounting procedures that mean that they need a report that shows that their software doesn't easily allow you after an inventory to change a code from not found to found. So that's a neat feature. Now that I've shown you what the actual main tab looks like, I'm just going to quickly, notes are obvious if there is a note in here, and I'm going to show you one with a note in a little bit, and I'm going to show you one with images. So we're going to go back to Asset List. Here you're going to see a notepad, and yep, that means a note exists. Here you're going to see a paperclip. That means that a photograph or a document is attached to that fixed asset. Your status field obviously is whether it's inactive, disposed, or active. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go into an asset with an image so I can show you. This asset has 3 different images linked. One is actually an invoice, a purchase order, and warranty information. I just have to click on it to see it. So that's kind of cool. Going back to the asset list, now we're going to see what a note in timestamp looks like. That's what this is. Radio tested and certified by a company representative, certificate on file with legal department. So you can see you can pretty much insert anything that you want. You also see all the fields that we had in that main tab are available in sort of on the asset list. It looks like an Excel file. You can hide all of these. There's a nice right mouse button click, a little expedited or go-to menu that pops up that enables you to quickly access these features. Add asset, edit asset. You can even print this asset list using the right mouse click. But what I was saying about the horizontal view of your asset list is you can freeze a column or hide the column, which is really nice. You also can double click at any time and see I just sorted by an actual field. So that's kind of cool. So the asset tracking product looks very similar to the depreciation module in that it does have an asset list and it has an asset detail page. That part of it is very similar. However, what you will find out is in the actual fixed asset tracking side, you won't have a button here to see the disposal worksheet. The only thing you do see is that it says here the status is disposed up here on the top under the asset number, and down below it tells you the date. Remember those gray out fields I showed at the beginning? Well, this is where they physically show you what those are. Now, over on the left is a navigation pane. They didn't always have this navigation pane. I kind of really dig it. There are certain features that are going to be grayed out when you are in an individual asset or when you're in a group asset. So if they're grayed out when they are physically in a depreciation field, or when they are grayed out when they are in a disposal field, they will actually be not accessible from that particular screen. Let me show you what I mean. So you can see how it's grayed out here as check in an asset. Well, that's really odd. How come I can't check in this asset? Well, you can't check it in because it's not checked out. I physically have to be in a checked out asset, which I think is very important for everyone to kind of understand. The same would apply if you needed to be in a particular asset that, let's show you, whether you could replicate it. You can't replicate an asset, as you can see here, while I'm in the asset list. You have to be in a specific singular asset. So I just want to remind everyone that our software has that ability to replicate, to reactivate. And when you see these gray selections, it's because you're not on the right screen to get that to happen. Now, because this is a demo and I'm simply showing you the features in the system, I want to make sure that I show you over on the left-hand side, the navigation, what reports come with asset tracking. You're going to notice that our reports are specific to asset tracking, meaning there are no depreciation reports in this side. Even though they share the data, there's nothing about the value of the asset here. You can bring the values in, and we can actually update this side of the module utilizing the acquisition value on the depreciation side. However, in this case, you have a checked in and checked out report, which is what we really want. You have the past due assets, which is already defined for you. So you do not have to create that. And because asset tracking has to do with barcoding or tagging your equipment to track it, there is a nice duplicate tag report that lets you know if the system has the same tag number on more than one asset. Furthermore, you do have those inventory reports I was talking about, reconciliation, exceptions, and collected data. So these all pertain to utilizing our inventory function with a barcode scanner. So we're going to go into that feature because that's one of the nicest features with our product, and we do want to show you, we want to demo how that would work and what that looks like. Our product comes with the ability for you to have more than one inventory session functioning at a time. So that's pretty cool. And if you use the Android device, your actual device itself can have more than one inventory on it. That's really a great feature that is newer in the 2018 version of Sage Fixed Asset Tracking. Even though we're in 2020, it's important to note I might have users that are looking at this demo and they might have used it before 2018 and didn't believe that this sort of option now exists, but it does and has existed. So you get more than one session and more than one inventory on one reader. First and foremost, we do have an inventory in session, but if you did have to create a session and put assets on a reader to go inventory, we have a 1, 2, 3 step process. Sage makes it very simple. You simply start the inventory, you would prepare your readers, and go out and scan assets. It has a great icon here for when you come back, you would receive. And guess what? The system is smart enough to know whether you need to receive an actual inventory that's in progress or whether one didn't even start. So let's go into this particular inventory. And you can see I have a virtual reader and I have a Unitech Android that was not currently receiving assets. Let's create a brand new session. Let's make sure first that we have the reader in here, and we do. Second of all, you're going to want to go to Inventory Helper, and you're going to want to go and name your inventory. And I'm going to name this training. I'm going to name it demo. And we have two options in our software. You could do a baseline inventory or a dynamic inventory. A baseline means that those are assets that did not exist before. And a dynamic means that these are assets that you really need to verify. They're assets that do exist and we need to validate their existence. And the key benefit to this is a financial benefit to the company. Number one, if you know what you have and you can true up your property tax, you are saving money on taxes that you're paying on assets that no longer exist. Number two, you have insurable values. You have insurance for your assets. Should there be a hurricane, a fire, all of these things we have seen, sadly, in the last 5 years of all of our lives. Rampant fires, hurricanes, floods, things that definitely can just destroy your assets. So you don't want to overpay on insurance premiums either. You want to make sure you know what you have and where it's at. And thirdly, what I like to remind everyone, once you do an inventory and you verify what you have, sometimes you find out that you are reducing your purchasing dollars because you unveiled that you had extra 20-inch monitors or extra laptops that really are viable. So I'm going to set up an inventory, a baseline, and I'm simply going to say that it's me. And I'm going to put active assets on here. And you get to choose the fields that you want to put on the actual scanner. What do you see when you're walking around? Well, I want to know what room I'm in. I want to verify the serial number. Maybe I want to verify the condition. I definitely want to make sure the description and the department and the floor are all good. And maybe we want also the location, and we want maybe we want the owner. Now, once I have these, I actually can I can move the fields up on the reader. And I do. I want description, serial number, room, condition, department, boom. Next. Now I verify that I've got the right stuff, and I want to prepare a reader. I'm going to select the virtual reader because we're going to do a separate video and a demo recorded for an actual Android device. But for a traditional reader, for a traditional cabled reader, this is very important for you to see in this demo. So when you look at the Android demo, it'll blow your mind the difference how it looks on the screen. This looks very archaic, right? This looks more like a little DOS with a cursor, more like Windows, which it really is Windows. However, in the Android, it is true Windows OS, which has a very beautiful color screen, and you can actually see a whole list of your assets. Very nice. So once you're scanning assets, you simply search the database by it, and if it shows up, it will populate this. Notice it says not found. At this point, I can physically go in and I can add the fields and I can add an asset. And if a drop-down menu is in your database, it actually enables you to populate that as well. So you don't have to go crazy free typing on this scanner, this keypad. So as long as the drop-down exists in Sage Tracking, it will actually exist in your scanner view screen. So now that I've saved an asset, that asset is actually in the record. I can't recall exactly what all of the assets were, the asset number in our sample company USA, but something makes me say they were something like this. I might not be able to pull one up during this demo. So the actual assets that you will scan, if you have a barcode on it, you won't be typing them. You'll be hitting a blue button or two side green buttons on the side, and the laser's up here on top, and it will populate this particular field. Now, once you're all done, you simply receive the reader data, you pick the right reader, you click receive, and it tells you exactly what you received. So those reports I was talking about, the top here, collected data, exceptions, and reconciliation. Anytime you deploy a scanner to someone to inventory, you can select collected data, and it is what is on the scanner. It'll tell you who actually scanned. It'll tell you what they scanned. So let's see if you can preview this particular one. Let's see where that report is. There it is. So you can see the asset I scanned in or I added, the laptop, while we just did. It actually names the reader, it names who collected the data, which is me, and an inventory date. And all of the reports in Sage Depreciation and Sage Tracking, in this upper left-hand corner, have a nice export button. You don't have to print this stuff. You can simply archive it and save it to your server so that you have a great audit trail of what happened during that inventory. So as you can see, the inventory process is fairly simple. However, what you will notice is that the actual the actual steps you have to sort of embrace are going to be different for an Android device, which is why we'll do a separate video for that. Why do we have to do a separate video? Because I actually want you to see the on-screen of it. And right now, the demo copy of Sage Fixed Asset Tracking does not include an Android picture. So we have created a really cool one, a really cool video that shows you how to step through using the new Android device. So that being said, I think that our demo is coming to an end. So I showed you the reports. I showed you how to physically navigate between the asset screens. And yes, you can customize the fields just like you can in our depreciation module. You also can customize groups to create your own query. And we do have an image manager. Any images that are scanned for the picture of the asset or the documents are uploaded to a manager of which you would attach right into an asset record. And honestly, when we take pictures on our Android device, which is cool, they adhere right to the asset. So it reduces the steps that you had to go through using a traditional cabled, what we call batch load scanner. So we want to get more and more users on the Android because we know A, how easy it is, B, how fast it works in the upload and download process, and C, even if you want to take a picture while you're inventorying, it's obviously an Android and it has a crisp, amazing photograph that is enabling it. Then the final piece I will say that is if the reports that you see here aren't exactly what you were looking for, we do have a crystal report writer that you can purchase as an enhancement, which is very, very nice. And it will enable you to take more than one of the, you have more than one of the options that you could do, like multiple data sources, and it's pretty nice. And Report Writer works the same as you are well aware in the depreciation. If you own fixed asset depreciation, it does have that Crystal Report Writer option, additional option for a, I guess, more detailed report. Our software also comes with the utilities built into custom import and export. That's very important if you are a brand new user and you've got all these spreadsheets for all these assets everywhere and you now want them consolidated, or you want them to stay in a different entity, a different list, if you will. You still could do that, but we have the ability to create a custom import and export, and users can back up and restore companies easily. We also have password security built into our software. You can define a supervisor, that would be the super user that's responsible for everything, as well as create user privileges and define a profile. If you are accounting, if you're facilities, if you're IT, you can create all those profiles and then assign user privileges. One note on that, you cannot assign this field can be accessed and this field cannot. It does not drill down to field restrictions. It does, however, say you can't delete certain assets, you can't delete functions, you can't do a major problem or have a major concern happen with your database. So you might want to utilize that if you have a lot of people using the software. I believe that really shows in great detail all of the features that come with Sage Fixed Asset Tracking. Having sold this for over 24 years, I will state that you will want process development using this scanners. You won't just want software training. You will want someone to help you be successful with how to conduct an inventory and the right steps to get your ROI. That is something we here at Net at Work specialize in, since my company provided on-site inventories as well as a service we're very proud to offer called Project Assist Training, where a project manager comes on site for 1 to 3 days to help your team use the readers, prep the readers, and even label a group of assets. So I look forward to helping you. If you have any questions about the software, need pricing, feel free to reach me, Suzanne Padone at Net at Work. And my email is spadone, P as in Paul, EDONE, at netatwork.com. And you will have that information also in the footer of this YouTube demo. Thank you so much, and happy fixed asset tracking.